Let's move right along and get into the Zoom room. Standing by the Board of Education Chair, Mrs. Maria Gutierrez. Good morning, Mrs. G.
Good morning, Jan Hoffaday, Sabrina, Jan Chris, and Jason, and everybody there at KUM.
We love your background. Can you tell us a little bit about your Zoom background, Mrs. G?
Okay, these are the 12 students that sits on the Guam Education Board by law. So I call them I supervise them with the superintendent, but it's mostly with me, and they're great students. They all graduated, class of 2020. They're those that didn't have the traditional graduation, but actually they put in a lot of work in recommending that it's best that they go for the grad and drive. But they're wonderful students. They're from all the 6 high school high school students except JP Torres, because they have to maintain their grade 2.5 and above. They offer policy changes, recommendation to the board, sits with us when we defend our budget at the legislature. So.
Well, look at you.
Yeah.
Doing virtual backgrounds.
Nice.
I'm scared of you, Miss Maria.
Who taught you how to do that? The grant, or did you figure it out yourself?
This is why I'm on the board, is because of them.
No, and I get what you're doing here, Mrs. G. This is your tribute to these graduates, and they got your back. I get it.
Yeah.
Mrs. G,
they don't call me Mrs. G. They call me Grandma G.
Yeah. But Mrs. G, I know the governor dropped some big bombs on a Friday to close the bars for 2 weeks, and just all through the weekend, my phone was blowing up with people asking about public schools. What were some of the things that you were hearing over the weekend, Mrs. G?
There's a meeting today.
Well, and I'm hearing a lot that says, "Are we going to open?" You were concerned of our kids going back to school, and these are mostly on the face-to-face. That meaning they will be coming physically to the school, and that is I want the public to know that the Guam Education Board and the Department of Education, everybody, teachers, staff, superintendent, and management team, we are very sensitive to their concern because of the rising number every other day or every day. And we want to assure them that we're doing everything in our to provide the best, the health and safety of the schools. And employees from the schools have been working up into the evening, even the weekend, and community people coming in to help get the school ready. That is the reason that we gave them the DOE gave them the 3 options to choose. The option is online. Hard copy, meaning they pick up the copies at school, and the kids will do it home, and the face-to-face. And for it's an opportunity, it's an option for them to choose. In the States, I've been on webinar with the state schools every week, and some school district don't give a choice to the parents. They just put it out and say, this is how we're going to be teaching the students. Yes, they said close the schools, but we need to, that's why if we close the schools, that means that even the online, even the hard copy, teaching will not going on. And we want people, we want to continue the education of our kids so that and provide the services, because the kids are losing out, staying home, not having anything. We just ask the community and everyone out there, let's all do our part. Parents, please do your part too. We will provide whatever is needed, because we cannot delay anything. Tomorrow, this morning, I think this morning the governor requested to meet with the superintendent of education, and tomorrow we will have our special meeting at 3:00 for the superintendents to provide us whatever transpired at the meeting with the governor. And we respect the governor because he's the governor of Guam. So whatever, and I when said she leave it up to the superintendent, they'll follow whatever the superintendent presents, and that's where we are too. So Mr. Fernandez tomorrow at 3:00 will present his plan whether to proceed or delay. Our teachers are ready. We are all sensitive to the concerns, but we need to get moving. So for those, and I understand over the weekend, a lot of principals are calling me, texting me that a lot of those parents that choose the face-to-face are now switching
Yeah.
over to hard copy or online,
Correct.
and they're accommodating the parents' request. And
Right.
please, that's what we need to know. And parents, please, if you need to make the changes, the schools are standing by, ready to accommodate your request. And that's
Mrs.
where we are.
Mrs. G,
Chris and Sabrina.
um, I understand you guys are sensitive, but right over the since Friday afternoon, I mean the phones have just been blowing up, and a lot of parents. You're right. Now they are, maybe they were thinking face to face, but now that option for so many of our parents, that option's no longer an option for them. And so when you talk about the schools being ready, and you had said you don't want a delay, that the kids need it, are we then saying that you guys have done what you can to provide these different options to the parents, and we're going to go ahead and start the school year regardless?
Well,
Because you guys feel the parents have a
yeah.
choice, right? So you guys feel like, hey, we gave this choice to you, so we're going to move full steam ahead.
Well, the superintendent and his team have met. Is that recovery task force have met? So he will present that tomorrow of what his plan will be, and whether he wants to delay. And if that's what he wants, we will. There's 8 of us on the board.
Right.
It takes 5 board members to take an action, whether to delay or move move forward. I don't know what my colleagues will have to, and for me, I'm still, thinking. Yes, I read a lot of the posts, and all they're saying is close the school, close the school, close the school. So, but they're also on the other side that says open the school, go online, hard copy. And I asked superintendent over the weekend, said, when you meet with the governor, please ask her, because public works bus transportation is under her authority. If the public works bus operation can help in bringing those hard copies to the families that don't have transportation, for example, subdivisions in Jigo, Zero Down, Hamlani, a lot of those families don't have transportation.
Right,
So the
right.
schools can work with the bus drivers and the teachers and the staff to bring these copies to those families, and then come back Friday and pick it up. That's because a lot of them don't have transportation. So I know the governor will accommodate that to and Public Works has always been standing by, ready to help us. But we'll see what happens today. But we will wait for the superintendent to give us his final report tomorrow and his recommendation, and the board from there will take it on. I know it's hard. Not everybody's going to be happy, but we're in this together. We also need to, start our kids back because they lost since March when we closed. A lot of parents are calling, please. I'm so stressed out. I didn't know that this is how hard it is to teach your kids because it's just I have to do this, I have to do that. And
Now
so,
you know. Now you know how hard it
I know.
is. Huh? Now.
Yeah, and I said now, parents that call me up said now you know what the teachers have to go through every day, that 5 days a week at school. So we are offering this now, and we will not. We'll wait for the superintendent, but I just ask for everyone's cooperation. This is not a time, to sit back and say, let DOE, let the DOE do it, let the governor do it, let lieutenant governor. No, we have to be together on this,
Right.
because this is beyond our control. So we ask everyone's cooperation. Yeah, I read a lot of posts that we don't know what we're doing. We don't know all these things. The staff, the teachers have been going to a lot of training for online. They're not getting paid, but they continue to do it. The employees at the schools are doing everything to get all the schools ready. And there's if you go into the GDOE of some of the schools that have been on the video, they're really working hard. So we just ask the public for their cooperation. We're getting the support of the mayors. They've been very accommodating. Some of the community, like Ironwood, Mr. Carlos Camacho, has offered the to Ironwood Community Center. If the families cannot go to the schools, that he will have his community, two community centers be available for us to use, and even the mayor. So we just need to work together. Let's stop the criticism. Well, it's your fault. That's fault. It's not. It's we have to be together on this. It's for our kids, and we want the children to receive the education they need, and that's why we got the three options. But now, it's up to the parents. The schools are standing by if you want to make that changes.
Ms.
The
G,
schools standing by.
I wanted to follow up though, because yes, we're hearing a lot about parents and the students having to make the decision, right, on face to face, whether or distance learning. But what about the concerns of teachers and staff that are also looking at this surge in COVID cases, and maybe they are concerned about their health and safety and their families, and also the fact that when we spoke to Mr. Fernandez last week, he said that they're still waiting for PPEs, and he set a deadline of the 12th, I believe, to get a final feedback on the procurement of these PPEs. And if there is a delay in receiving these PPEs, then there might have to be a delay in opening schools. And if there's
Sabrina,
even a protest, then that's a whole nother story.
Sabrina,
Yeah.
I was given an information that PPEs came in as starting Friday. They all
Okay,
worked
that's good.
yesterday, Saturday, Sunday, even today. The PPEs are being delivered to the school site, and I heard this from the deputy superintendent who's handling those PPEs, Mrs. Erica Cruz,
Well,
and
that's
that
good
it's
news.
going out already to the schools. Yes, they are going out to the
Okay.
schools. As far as the employees and the employees of DOE, that's the superintendent. He's very, he's handling that, because, as you know, the board's only employee is the superintendent. So anything with the other employees, it's the superintendent. So tomorrow he'll present to us what is his final plan for August 17, whether he wants to delay or he wants to move on.
Right.
But let me assure you that Mrs. Erica Cruz and others that have seen that have texted me, said they are receiving the PPEs, and that's why they work all through the weekend and even start today distributing out to the respective schools.
Thank
Mrs.
you for that
Yeah.
update, because I know that was a concern, whether
Right.
or not they would
I
have their
was concerned
PPEs.
about that too.
Yeah.
Right,
I was
right.
concerned, but when I was given that information by Mrs. Erica
Mrs.
Cruz,
G,
so,
you know what we're
yeah.
hearing here on the link, and this is just and it's off. We're hearing it off the record, but what we're hearing is that they're really going to try and push for the elimination of the face-to-face option for the return to school. I mean, I don't know. Again, when we hear things in the news, legit news, we got to put it out there and see what people say. So you're in a position to say something. Have you heard about this at all?
No, I have not heard anything. I have been in communication with the superintendent, and it doesn't matter what time, if it been early in the morning, midnight, whatever. He has not said anything. So please, let's wait for the official and accurate information before anyone is putting those things out, because it is not true. And we don't want to confuse people.
Of course.
Superintendent will present that tomorrow, because the schools are still getting those changes. So he will let us know
Right.
how many have changed back, but there's nothing in official, and I know superintendent is listening to this.
Yeah.
Nothing has come out from the superintendent. So it will be the official and accurate information will come from the superintendent to the board tomorrow. So any other information out there, I just want to say it's not accurate until I hear from the board, hears from the superintendent, and after his meeting also with the governor.
Ms. G, what about the senators are getting ready to go into session to talk about the budget? And we spoke with Senator Joe San Augustine last week, and the Steve Guerrero from the Office of Finance and Budget, and he was mentioning how almost every government agency was going to take a cut. What about the Department of Education? Have you guys seen any budget cuts that have come down from the legislature or proposed, and how will it impact GDOE, whether it's the opening of schools or throughout next fiscal year?
I heard from the superintendent, we met with St. Augustine, that there will be a cut as far as just how much DOE will get. It's not final. I guess also he might brief us tomorrow on that. I haven't heard as the board chair from the Committee on Education, Vice Speaker Talina Nelson, of if what is her plan, if she's going to support us in it being a move away from the cut or not too much cut. We that's really where we are. So if we got the cut, it's beyond our control. It's at the hands of the legislature. But I hope that our chair on education, on Committee on Education, and the vice chair on the Committee on Education will stand up for the board, for the Department of Education, because it's going to impact us, and not only us, even the charter school. So this is the public education for our kids. So we'll wait and see what our two Committee on Education chair and vice chair will do for us. But it will be impact. There will be an impact, and we understand that everyone is going to get cut. But we hope that we will not. Our cut will not be as much as everybody else. And yes, they can say DOE gets all the money, gets a lot of it. But remember, the Organic Act said we have to provide public education. Right. We have the 14 points that was a mandate that we have to follow. We have to follow. No other government agency has 14 points except Department of Education.
Right.
The charter school don't have 14 points. We have to comply with the 14 points, and that's how the budgets the budget was based on. It's coming from the schools.
Right. And so Mrs. G, correct me if I'm wrong, but ever since the Trump tax cuts and they cut you guys' budget by so much, you haven't been restored to what it was prior to that, right?
Yes, but we do what is best, and the superintendent is very mindful of the spending.
Right.
And remember, the people are saying, well, we have federal funds. Yes, the federal fundings are consolidated grants, and they're specific. And I heard Mr. De Sola today that it's not him; he has to follow guidelines. So that's exactly under this consolidated grant. There's really guidelines of how you're supposed to use that money, not to go and rebuild Simon Sanchez. No, go and do this and that. It's very specific because our federal funding is under the consolidated grant. And yes, we don't get everything that we ask every budget year, but we try our best to provide the best education. And like I say, 14 points, and I don't think any senators want to look at the 14 points and amend. Because that's what I'm waiting for, is who would have the guts of the legislature to amend the 14 points.
Let's amend it and
Because
let's put more points.
It's got to be frustrating, though, Maria, considering the fact that you are one of the longest, or if not the longest serving member on the Guam Education Board, to constantly every single year see the Guam Department of Education face cuts when education, everybody says, is a priority.
Well, and that's why I'm very vocal about it, because we never get, the DOE never got everything that they asked. They never, and so what? We have to follow the 14 points to have these things to provide the best education for our children, but we don't have the funding. We have employees, we have teachers. So the teachers are leaving DOE to go to a better place that pays higher. Our employees, so it's election year, and I like to see who will really stand up for DOE, because this is not only during election time. And I've heard that many times since 1991 when I was on the school board. Education is priority. Education. My former colleagues, Dr. Casper Bauer, Dr. all the other members, we have been together, and this has been the same thing. So it's like so I just now is Come on, let's senators now do your part. Give us that funding, and but don't say that we receive a lot of our money. Yes, there's federal funding, and thanks for the federal funding. It's helping us.
Right.
But we can't do this alone, and we understand where we are right now. We understand that we will be anticipating cut, but please, if we are, the DO is expected, the superintendent is expected to provide the best education for our children, then give us that funding, and that includes the charter school too, because
Amen.
those are also public school kids.
Mrs. G, I want to ask, because at the beginning you said you're sensitive, and I know you always kind of go to bat for the little people. We had a comment here. What are your thoughts, Mrs. G, about those parents who are just really needing that face-to-face instruction because they can't get childcare, or they have to go to work and no one can watch the kids?
Chris, those have been brought to the superintendent, and he has been trying with his team addressing those, because yes, I'm concerned, but if for those parents that I know with the DOE employees, he's handling that. He's trying to find ways. But now for the parents that are not working or are not government DOE employees, I hope the senators will do something to help those families, to help them out. Find a way. This is the time for them to help these working parents that don't have child care and they need to go to work. But I know the superintendent Fernandez has been addressing those that are employed within the DOE.
All right.
So I put that out, put a call to the senators, help those parents that need help, that are working in the private sector, working in other government or WAM agencies. What can you do to help them? Because they need to go to work. That's why they sign up for the face-to-face, because they need their kids to go to school.
Well, thank you, Mrs. G. Yeah, the question's out there, guys. What are you going to do? We got 100 million gajillion in federal money sitting in the bank. So what are we going to do? Mrs. G, thank you.
And good luck.
We definitely enjoy your fire.
Anytime,
Anytime then tomorrow, pues. Let's go again tomorrow then.
Hey, 2 o'clock tomorrow. I want the public to listen.
Yeah, we will.
The superintendent will present his plan, and he's meeting with the governor and the lieutenant governor. I want to thank them for their support also, that they don't really interfere into our DOE.
Right.
They let the superintendent, and thank you for the lieutenant governor, who's been always meeting with him and updating. So that's teamwork, regardless of what. This teamwork is what we need right now. I ask everybody's cooperation, and thank you to the mayors. Thank you to those that have been going out to the school. I understand Finnegan had over the weekend had community people there cleaning up other schools. Thank you for that. We really appreciate that. And this is what I call is we're all together in this, and we want what is best for our children, for our island. Jesus mercy to everybody.
Thank you. Take
care. Thank you, Mrs. G.
Yeah.
Wash your hands.
Yes, I will.
Even your thumbs, huh? There you go, Mrs. G from the Board of Education. I love that old lady. She reminds me of my grandma. I think she reminds a lot of people of their grandma.
Yeah.
It's like the prototypical Chamorro grandma DNA embodied in a living person right there. 9 o'clock, and we're KUAM FM and Agani Guam. We're coming back. We'll check in with UOG. They're doing a congressional forum, and then we'll hear from some bar owners and get their 2 cents, although I feel like it's going to be more than 2